The San Francisco 49ers are the most resilient team in the NFL, and I'm not giving up hope on this team whatsoever. Now, I know everybody's viewing the Niners as kind of like this sob story right now, like, here we go again, everybody's getting injured, it's time to write this team off, they can't get it done. Let's overreact. And I'm taking the exact opposite stance right now looking at the San Francisco 49ers. And I know that they're in a really tough spot right now. Nick Bosa now is the next injury that's happened for this Niners team. He has torn his ACL. It was official as of Monday after their big time win over the Cardinals. Nick Bosa tore his ACL in that game. We saw him give the thumbs down to that fan on the sideline. And it was initially reported that he could be okay and that it wasn't as serious as it was initially thought of, but no, it was a torn ACL. He will now miss the entirety of this season, and it's just yet another huge blow to this San Francisco team. Obviously, we know how injured they were last year, and they're still waiting to get back Brandon Ayuk, who tore his ACL last season, who they think they'll get back around in week 6. And obviously Brock Purdy gets hurt in the big week 1 victory against the Seahawks. We haven't seen him in the last 2 weeks, and I think he'll come back this week. And we also haven't seen George Kittle. He was put on the IR after scoring that touchdown in week 1. He took off his pads, didn't play the rest of the game, and we haven't seen him since. So the injuries just continue to build for the Niners. And this has been the same story for this team, it feels like, every single year. And Clutch Points actually made a great graphic showing how injured the Niners have been over the last few years. Obviously, Bosa is now injured this season. No Purdy, no Ayuk, nor no Kittle. Last year, the Niners were the most injured team in the NFL in 2024. In 2022, they were the 9th most injured team. In 2021, they were the 3rd most injured team. In 2020, again, they led the NFL and they were the most injured team in football. In 2019, they were the 6th most injured, and in 2018, they were the 4th most injured team in the NFL. That is a ridiculously brutal and unfortunate stretch of injuries for the Niners. And I feel like with this team, there's been so many what ifs. What if Patrick Mahomes wasn't in the Super Bowl when they ultimately have played him now 2 times and the Niners have come so close? They lose to both of those games against Mahomes. What if they don't have all of those injuries? What does it look like for the Niners over the last few years? And I feel like everybody's now giving up on this team again. Oh, here we go again. It's the same sob story with the Niners. And I'm taking the exact opposite stance. And I'm very bullish on this team, and I do believe in the San Francisco 49ers. First of all, we're 3 weeks into the season. The Niners are 3-0. A huge storyline for this year was, hey, the Niners, yeah, they were, bad last year because of all the injuries they had, but they've got the easiest schedule in football this year. And yes, they're in a tough division, but the Niners should be a lock to make the wild card. And coming into this year, they had the 2nd shortest odds to make the playoffs. And I was jumping all over this team saying, hey, the Niners are going to win 14 games. I'm expecting them to be healthier. I'm expecting them to capitalize on the easy schedule that they have. Everybody had written off Purdy. Everybody had written off all the guys that they had on this team. Everybody had written off Shanahan. No, this team can't make it into the playoffs, not in the NFC West, not in the NFC. And I took, again, the opposite stance, saying, no, the Niners will make the playoffs. And I went out on a limb and said they will win the most games in the NFC. And I said they would win 14 games to be exact. And that's exactly how I feel as of right now. I feel even better about that take 3 weeks in, even with the injuries going on. And I understand this is a brutal loss to Nick Bosa, but we've got to look at the positives here for the San Francisco 49ers. First of all, this team gutted with injuries last year. They lose so many guys in free agency this offseason. You lose Deebo Samuel. You lose a plethora of guys on the defensive side of the ball. So many question marks around this Niners team. But I think the biggest advantage that this team got defensively was getting back Robert Saleh. Obviously left the Niners a few years ago to go be the head coach of the New York Jets. Things did not go well there. He was the scapegoat. He comes back to be the DC for the Niners, and he's been unbelievable so far. This Niners defense has been really good with all of the young talent that they have on that side of the ball. So many question marks with all of the departures that they had this offseason, and they've answered the call. They're giving up the 4th fewest yards per game, and they are giving up the 3rd fewest points per game. They're just giving up over 16 points per game, and they've been really good on that end so far, and they've needed them to be good defensively to help out this offense. Obviously, No Kittle, no Purdy after week 1. You insert Mac Jones, who I'll talk about here in a little bit. He's been awesome so far, but you needed this defense to step up to give this offense a chance to win these dirty football games, and that's exactly what the defense has done. They've answered the call. Robert Saleh has done a tremendous job, and I still feel that this defense can perform despite losing Nick Bosa. It's a brutal loss, but I think you've got to look at the positives with this Niners team. First of all, this defense is a top 10 unit in football right now. You take a huge hit with Bosa, but you're still probably top 10 with Robert Saleh, the way he's got those guys flying around right now. You've got to be optimistic there. Then number 2, you've got the easiest schedule in football still, and you are 3-0 at number 3. This is a great spot to be in if you're the Niners, because once you get healthy, you're going to get Purdy back, who is definitively a top 10 quarterback in football. He got his money. I felt that in week 1, he played his best game against the Seahawks. This defense did a great job of not allowing Sam Darnold to throw a touchdown, but Brock Purdy had a heck of a game. 26 of 35 passing, 277 passing yards, 2 TDs, 2 picks, with really a questionable receiving core. Juwan Jennings didn't play much of the offseason, so he wasn't fully acclimated in this offense, and he only had 2 catches for 16 yards. Kittle goes down in the first quarter. He's throwing out there to Ricky Pearsall, Christian McCaffrey, and Kyle Juszczyk. He doesn't got anyone else out there, and the entire narrative around Purdy his entire career has been, hey, this dude can't get it done unless he's got the Avengers offensively around him and the Avengers defensively to help get the ball back for him. I felt that Brock Purdy had his best game maybe in the NFL. Led that game-winning drive. Huge win for the San Francisco 49ers. I believe they're going to get him back this week when they play the Jaguars, which would be very, very big to get him back. But Mac Jones has been holding down the fort. He's been playing really, really well. 2 big-time wins against the New Orleans Saints, who might be the worst team in football, but regardless, a win is a win in the NFL. They go on the road, pick up a big-time win there. And then a huge win this past weekend against the Arizona Cardinals, a division rival who are 2-0. The winner got the number 1 spot ultimately in the NFC West. San Francisco gets it done. Mac Jones leads a game-winning drive. And Eddie Pinheiro, it seems like, hey, here's another positive. The Niners have actually figured out the kicking game. Jake Moody missed those field goals in week 1 against Seattle. Everyone wanted him out of town, deservedly so. A lot of people felt that he shouldn't even be on the team coming into this year. They finally get rid of him after he struggles in week 1. Pinheiro comes in after getting picked up as we headed into week 2. He had that missed field goal against the Saints, but he looked really solid against the Cardinals. He hits the game winner. The Niners now have a kicker. So you've got to stay optimistic here, 49ers fans. I really believe you've got to stay optimistic because you've got a lot to look forward to. Now, yes, the NFC is a bloodbath. There are so many ridiculously good teams, but it's all going to come down to health, most importantly, and the Niners have struggled with that, but they're going to get healthier. You're going to get Purdy back. You're going to get Kittle back. You're going to get Ayuk back. Let's talk about Ricky Pearsall here for a second. The dude has been unbelievable. This receiving core is actually really, really good, and offensively, once you've got everybody back, this is one of the top offenses on paper in football. Ricky Pearsall, they took him in the first round last year, obviously got shot in the chest, came back. The dude has been on another level this year. He's got the 3rd most receiving yards in football, 16 receptions, 281 yards. He's averaging over 17 yards per catch. The dude has been a big-time playmaker, and he's been the number 1 threat on the outside for the Niners so far. And I think you would come into this season saying, okay, we've probably got 2 better outside threats than him in Juwan Jennings and Brandon Ayuk once they come back into the fold. So Ricky Pearsall has done a tremendous job of holding down the fort. He's really showing that, hey, even though we lost Deebo Samuel, it's all right. We're going to save that money. You've got me on the rookie contract. We will be just fine. This Niners team, they have enough talent offensively, in my opinion, once Purdy's finally clicking in the mix, once Kittle's clicking in the mix, if hopefully, fingers crossed, Ayuk is still that same dominant number 1 outside receiver who can put up over 1,000 yards, because he's going to be really, really good for this offense. CMC, he's got to stay healthy, but he's obviously been doing his thing. I think this 49ers team can make a run in the postseason. And I will say this again, I think they get the number 1 seed in the NFC. Like I said at the beginning of the year, I think 14 games is absolutely on the table for them. 14 wins, I think that's absolutely on the table. And I really believe this squad, they're not a feel good feel-good story anymore. That's not just they're not a sob story. They're not any good. No, this 49ers team, they're a good football team and they're resilient. Kyle Shanahan knows what he's doing, and I do believe in the Niners, and I believe that they will go on a run. Nobody should count them out. Let's stay optimistic here. We're 3 weeks into the season. The Niners have got a lot to look forward to, and they're winning football games, most importantly, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Caden Kuvler, and thank you guys so much for watching.